Hello everyone, you join me here on another round of racing, another great day of racing. It is Adams Motorsports Park. We are at round number 5 of the 6-round series, which means there is one more round after this. So great math, great camera angles as you can see there. We have ourselves a new GoPro, a new used GoPro. I wouldn't say it's new, but whatever, we got a great deal on it, so take you to the coworker. Let's get with it. So, coming out here in the qualifying session, we have had our warm-up session kind of before this. We kind of noticed that we might be in a little bit of trouble. So one of the things that we're doing is kind of sending us out all together. We're going to try and help each other along on the straights, kind of bump each other, as you can see right there, and hopefully kind of improve our lap times a little bit. Now, as you may know, usually with these go-karts, there's no aero devices or anything like that, so you don't need to worry about kind of what you see, for example, in Formula One, where if you're within a few seconds, not a few seconds, within a couple tenths or a second, you might start getting some of that aerodynamic wash, some of that turbulent air, and it's going to mess with your aerodynamics and you're going to lose lap time. But thankfully with go-karts, you don't need to worry about that. What you do need to worry about is staying on the track. As you can see here, me forgetting that. Now, part of the reason of that, as I give an excuse, is I'm really struggling with tire deg. So, and I can see here, yeah, the last 30 seconds of this qualifying session has not looked like a team effort, but I promise you we were trying our best. But kind of going back into it, so I had been kind of comfortable in this series, not really trying to put too much money into tires and stuff like that. So some of you might know, some of you might not. For this series, we're using these Hoosier R60Bs. It's a softer compound than what we would race, for example, at Tri-C. And the idea for those R70s is kind of to make it as budget-friendly as possible. You don't necessarily need to buy new tires every single round or everything like that. I mean, the R70s actually kind of hold themselves together pretty well, actually, but you kind of start falling into the trap of buying new tires, especially when you're at the front. You know, you want to have that competitive edge no matter what it is, so I fall into that, so whatever. But for this series, I had noticed that, you know, I'm pretty good on the points. No need for new tires. So this was kind of like, as you see here, taking the checkered flag. We were able to get some decent laps, but really just still struggling with lap time. As you could see, Diego up in the top and Thomas were both on a fresh set of R60Bs, and it makes a huge difference. But we're going to see what we can do. We're going to see if maybe we can make up some positions here. We got 8 laps. Let's see if we can maybe get ourselves up into the podium, do some defending, and just kind of figure it out. So as we get started, you can see Brandon right there, the number 13, getting a horrid start. I actually had the opportunity. I could have moved in on the inside and maybe forced myself through the 42, but kind of just staying in behind him, get in behind and try to tuck into some of that slipstream, get away from the people behind us. Maybe we're going to see what we can do. We know we're lacking the pace, but we're going to see what we can do. Maybe work as a team. As I look back, and when I look back, I see that someone is going for the overtake, so I actually go defensive, and now we're going to see how that basically destroys our race here. So we start kind of defending. We're still trying to stick in with the 42. Diego is actually starting to clear himself away from us right here on this first lap. We were kind of all still single file, but I'd say Diego with about half a second advantage above us. So just kind of tucking in again, try to get as close as we can, but really struggling with our exits. And as you can see here, dealing with just a ton of understeer, and it's right here again, just super tricky on the exit. A ton of like sideways motion. And you might not remember this, but one of the issues I actually had with this set of tires is that the rollout radius is much larger on one side. It's about a 4 centimeter difference once the tires are inflated. So you can see here, actually, I'm kind of in my own little world right now. I have a gap to the leaders, but also a gap to the people behind, about halfway through the race. So, and the reason for that is that we also have Brandon and Brandon kind of battling for position, battling for 5th and 4th. So once again, getting off the road, I did not learn from my mistakes, but however, I somehow managed to stay in front. But now I have super dirty tires, I have super worn tires, We're going to see if maybe we can hold on to this a little bit. But ideally, missing that apex there, just absolutely no grip. Ideally, you don't want to be doing this, going defensive against your teammates. I mean, you could see the amount of time that we've lost. So we're almost basically at our own race at the moment. So at this point, first and second, kind of out of the picture, especially with the pace that we're at the moment. But so we're going to try and see if we can maybe hold on to this third position. I know it's a little early in the race to start going super crazy defensive. As you can see here, Brandon making a move right up on the inside on the hairpin. And yeah, so fast forward a little bit into the end of the lap, you can see here, I look back real quick, I check back, and Brandon's actually telling me, hey, let's work together, let's get away from this pressure. I mean, he's under a ton of pressure from the people behind him actually, but unfortunately, I actually don't see that because he had done that just as I turned around. So you can see here the amount of time that he actually gained through me through Big Monza and through this hairpin as well actually. Having to go a little bit of a different line just so he doesn't run in the back of me. And Casey right there, not too happy with the amount of fighting between teammates that he has seen today on this race particularly. But coming into the 7th lap, that is totally out the window. We're going to have to go defensive into Big Monza. We're going to have to go super narrow through here, kind of block the ability to get past. And it is 4 of us right here battling for the podium position, the final podium position here. We're going to go as late in the brakes as possible here, but keep it kind of narrow. And as I get a little boost of momentum through there, kind of helping me a little bit on the exit as I'm struggling, kind of getting the grip down there. But let's see if maybe we can kind of hold ourselves together right here. We got a lap and a half to go. You can see Brandon is all over me. The guy behind Brandon is all over him, and the guy behind Brandon behind him is all over him as well. So very tough situation, very intense right here for the last place on the podium. So we're going to try and get a really good exit. We're able to kind of get a pretty good exit as the white flag comes out. You can see the time that he's gaining on me through there once again. Coming into Big Monza, we're going to go defensive once again. You can see how much wider he's taking his line through Big Monza, but he's taking the racing line, I'm taking the defensive line, which actually compromises my exit. You can see he's all over the place in the back trying to find a way through. So I go once again super defensive through there, blocking up the inside pass, and we're going to stay all the way on the right as late as possible. He goes wide, and I kind of give him just as much space through there, and we kind of park it on the apex once again. So this section, not under a lot of threat. We're mainly worried about that final turn coming onto the exit of the final straight. So going through this, we're going to try to keep it as clean as possible, doing a pretty decent job at it, but still, you could see no matter what I try and do, it's almost impossible to keep that kart from kicking out, and the straight was any longer, I would have probably lost that position right there. But thankfully, after a ton of defending, more defending than you normally see at an NBA game actually, and this is a true fact and a true story. But yeah, a lot of defending, a lot of work to do, pretty intense racing actually. And yeah, we're just gonna debrief. Honestly, I was kind of lucky on the start, the fact that Brandon just kind of messed it up and was caught sleeping. You can see here actually the lap times. Diego coming in with the 50.6, and then Thomas, Brandon, and Evan coming in the 50.8, and I'm all the way in the 51, just unable to break that barrier there. So kind of makes sense, right? So if we weren't fighting too much, and let's say I had let them by, they would have definitely had a shot for at least a second place in the race here. And that's kind of what Casey was talking to us about, working as a team, and just sometimes you gotta be the team player instead of doing what I did and just kind of fighting the whole race. Even though it might have been a bit of a miscommunication, as I am told to get my head on my ass, it might have been a miscommunication in the beginning where I thought he was trying to pass me. As you see here, the absolute athleticism and mobility from Matt right there. But that first lap where I kind of see him take a different line, I thought he was going for the overtake, kind of made me think, okay, well, I guess we're going to be fighting for this here. But yeah, as we talk to Casey, see what we can do in terms of strategy and everything. But yeah, I mean, ideally, starting in third, I'm not feeling like I have the ability to get up into second or third place. So really what it's going to come down to is just trying to put down as much speed as possible, as much pace as possible, minimize the mistakes, because as we saw in the heat race, the biggest passing for opportunity is going to be on the back straight and into the hairpin. So if I mess that up, I probably shouldn't fight it too much if it's my teammates, but just kind of give them the opportunity to go chase down second place. So we're going to see what we can do coming out of a nice little warm-up session with the tires, a little lap out there, and we're going to see what we can do to try to get a great start. Maybe we can move up into second in the start. Let's see what we can do. Green flag we go, and Thomas gets a terrible start right there. He's actually down into almost third position. Right now he is in the fourth position actually, and all the way back down into fifth. So a great start for me, 10 out of 10, and probably 0 out of 10 for Thomas there. A little disappointing, but you know, sometimes it gets the best of us, but we're going to see what we can do here. Evan is all over the back of me here, and Diego has already a decent lead that he has pushed. So we're not going to go fighting right now. We're going to see if we can maybe stick with him a little bit. One of the changes that I did make in terms of, I guess you can call setup. So earlier I was talking about the rollout radius on the rear tires. Originally what I was thinking was having them, you know, have the bigger radius tire on the outside to kind of help me with the clockwise rotation that normally we're dealing with in the circuit here, kind of like Big Monza and Little Monza and just other sections of the track, right? Kind of give me that advantage mechanically. But one of the issues that we were having with that is just the fact that the tires are so worn out that you lose any kind of advantage that you think you might gain. As I go super deep on the brakes there, miss my apex, and almost lose a position there. The one who did lose a position was Evan, which is kind of interesting, right? So he tries to make this move a bit early on me, and what happens is you lose that momentum, and that's why Brandon was actually able to kind of come through there. So fast forwarding a little bit into lap 3, and Tom is almost losing it right there actually, and I am under the attack actually by my two teammates. So coming into Big Monza, I am not going to defend too much. We're going to play as a team this time, as you see me being the bigger person, as I might say. But already them putting in a big distance, but I was actually able to close in the gap, as you might see here, coming in through the end of lap number 5. We're going to see if maybe we can make a move. I'm thinking not going to get too crazy with it a little bit, but we're just going to tuck in behind right here and not go for anything too crazy. I don't want to ruin their momentum or anything like that, but at the same time, if I do have a clear opportunity to overtake, I'm going to go and take it. But it's kind of tricky because I'm having to brake a little bit earlier than everybody else. You can see right behind me, Thomas is all over the back of me. He wants to make up as many positions as possible. And you can see that we get a little bit of a bump right there actually. So at the moment, I didn't really know what had happened. I thought maybe I didn't leave him enough room, but looking into the replay, it seems like there was enough space. But actually what happened after talking to him was that he had locked up into the braking zone and he had run into the back of me. So I just kind of give him the thumbs up. No worries. Not sure what happened there, but let's just keep racing. But at the situation right now is second and third place kind of out of the picture right now. I know that if I stuck with them in their slipstream, I would be able to keep up with them kind of with my pace that I'm having and get a little bit of the boost of the slipstream. But right now, it's all about just guarding that fourth place and actually losing it right now for a second, but carrying enough momentum through that hairpin into sandbox to kind of keep and solidify my position here into Little Monza right there. So once again, kind of parking it into the apex right there, since we went a little bit narrow. I'm not going to carry as much speed through there, but if we park it on the apex, we're not going to be under threat. So halfway through the race right now, we're going to see what we can do. It is lap number 8, a little bit of a fast forward there. We're losing a bit of a sight of the podium positions. I'm getting all over the place. I'm going to get under threat here, but so does Thomas actually. You could see the frustration right there on the rear view camera. Thankfully, he gets all over the place, because if not, that was definitely going to be putting me down into 5th position. So other than that, I mean, for the most of the race, it was kind of like that, just battling back and forth. And you can see here, coming into lap number 11, still under the threat of Thomas right here with the rapid pace. He's going to come up on the left side. I'm going to block him through there, late on the brakes. Once again, parked on the apex. He takes a slightly different line, but we're able to hold it through. We have 4 more laps to go, It is lap number 12. We're going to start lap number 13. He is coming right up on the inside of me right there, actually on the outside. He's going to try to switch it around. I'm going to go a little bit narrow here. You can see me just trying to block that opportunity from the inside right there. And we just got to make sure we make ourselves as wide as possible coming into this sandbox right here. We got to make sure not only do we go defensive, but oh, Thomas gets all over the place. He loses that opportunity. Now all I have to do is just make sure I can keep a little bit of a gap. You can see we have about maybe a second of a gap, maybe a little bit more. It's the lap number 15. Let's get started. We just need to hold ourselves down. You can see the amount of time that he actually kind of gains on me a little bit through here. It's just I'm struggling with that understeer going into a little Monza, and the rear end is just snapping, having to reduce the speed that I can carry through there. So once again, into sandbox, I know it can be dangerous here. He might go, the guy goes a little bit late on the apex, but he's able to gain, once again, much more time on me. I check back real quick. I make sure that we're in the clear. I'm going to take the racing line here. Make sure we don't hit the curb and go off the road, just like we did earlier before. But we manage it very nicely and very well indeed. Get a little bit of the curb there. Kiss that one all the way. And now we're going to go a little bit narrow through here. Don't track out like I was in the warm-up. Learn that for sure. And we just got to make sure we keep it clean through here and do just that exactly. So tuck in all the way. Make sure I am super slippery. And we take that checkered flag. So at the end of the day, it was a very tough race. So let's look at the times here a little bit. You can see that actually Evan and Brandon and we all set very similar lap times, and we all kind of set them around the same time as well. So I definitely could have hung with them a little bit, and you can see just what happens when I lose that slipstream. They kind of stayed together, and they were able to just kind of go together. Right here, just talking to Thomas, making sure we're good. This is where just talking about the race, figuring out what that bump was, but neither one of us are mad at each other, and yeah. So that was that. That was round number 5. I made sure to go buy some old tires that are a bit newer than the ones that I currently have. So we're going to see what we can do with round number 6, the last final round. You can't do a drop, so you need to make sure you do well there. And yeah, hopefully just take home the win, seal off the championship in a victorious fashion. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, because that'd be nice. And give it a thumbs up and comment. You're the best.